Let me show you how to make a beginner-friendly wreath. Hi guys, it's Nikki here at Stillwater's Wreath Designs. We're going to use this super cute sign I found at a local craft store on an 18-inch grapevine base and turn it into this super cute showstopper. Okay guys, let's begin. Make sure you have your hot glue gun plugged in and ready to go. And I've already given this grapevine a quick cleanup. All I did was trim off any of those excess bits of twigs so that it's nice and clean. And we need to get our sign prepped. Just grab your favorite wall hanging sign from your favorite craft store, Hobby Lobby, or even a local thrift store. It makes a perfect focal point for any wreath. I'm going to add my sign to the upper right-hand quadrant of our grapevine wreath. Here I'm just using a Sharpie to mark the two spots that I want to add the floral wire to anchor the sign down into the grapevine. If your sign came with a hanger, just go ahead and use your heavy-duty wire snips and trim that hanger away. And now we're going to use a craft stapler. I'll leave a link for my favorite stapler below to secure some floral wire stems onto the back of our sign. Here I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue right to that staple to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Also, I've given that floral wire stem a couple of twists so that it doesn't slide out from the staple. Once that hot glue has cooled, we're going to go ahead and anchor our sign right down into the grapevine. We're just going to push those floral wire stems right through the grapevine, not around. Nobody wants to see those mechanics. And then we'll flip that grapevine over, give those floral wire stems several tight twists, and trim away the excess bit of stem. You'll want to have your needle nose pliers and your small wire snips handy for this step. Then you're going to add a dollop of hot glue right where we've trimmed away those floral wire stems to make sure they're nice and smooth. Okay guys, let's make a quick bow. I'm going to use two different types of 1.5-inch wide wired ribbon. I've got this cute little mesh white ribbon, a standard pipe cleaner, and my scissors. So first I'm going to pull a tail down. I always like to go a little bit longer than what I think I'll need. I'm going to twist, fold that in half to make my loop. I'm going to make one more loop, so I'm going to give that another hard twist. Make my second loop. You always want your ribbon to be pretty side out. We'll marry those up to make sure that they're approximately the same size, and they are. And we're going to cut our tail. There's ribbon number one. We'll move on to ribbon number two. Do the exact same thing with those tails and loops, about the same size. So again, 2 loops and 2 tails. We'll marry them up to make sure they're about the same size. Pull that ribbon down to create our tail and cut. I'm going to grab this pretty ribbon, and look how delicate that is, guys. This actually came from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to roll it out a good bit. It's not very long. I'm going to put a set of tails, no loops, behind our bow. You can see, guys, I'm not measuring, not looking for perfection at all. And I'm going to make one more bow. This is just a solid navy. 2 loops, 2 tails. These loops are about 2 inches or so smaller than the previous. And the tails are nice and long. So it's not pretty yet, guys, but we're going to fix that. I'm going to create a set of tails for the middle. No loop. So here's what it looks like right now. Still messy. Grab your pipe cleaner, wrap that right around the center of your bow stack. Flip it around to the back side. And then give those pipe cleaners, you guys, several tight twists. Now we've got our bow that's a hot mess. I'm just going to pull those tails down so they're all going in the right direction. Separate those loops, and they're kind of big and sloppy because we're going to tuck some greenery in there, you guys. You can see that I've got them going in opposite directions, so we're kind of making an X pattern with the anchor and the polka dot, and then coming straight across with that center. So So here's what our sloppy, messy bow looks like. Trust the process, guys. It's going to be perfect for our wreath. Okay, let's spin the camera back around. Okay, guys, now that we've made our bow, so I know at first glance it looks a little funky. So those loops are a little larger than what we would normally do. They don't really come together well yet, but trust the process, guys, because we're actually going to stick greenery in between those loops, and so we need to give that greenery some space. So we're going to make sure our tails are all going down the right way, and I'd like my bow to be right here where the corner of my picture is. Just run your pipe cleaner right through your grapevine and then give it several tight twists on the back. If your pipe cleaner is too flimsy, just grab some floral wire. We're really not going to get too crazy with our bow just yet, guys. I'll show you why in just a minute. I am going to give a couple of squirts of glue underneath either side of our bow and then give it a good little push. That'll just keep it from spinning around. And now let me grab some florals. All right, guys, let me show you the florals I grabbed. So I've got a couple of my favorite greenery bushes from Hobby Lobby, and I've got this blues and greens themed floral bush. So I'm actually going to pull this apart into 3 sections. And I don't want those to come undone, guys. So I'm going to actually rewrap those ends with a little bit of floral tape. I just grabbed this from Amazon. I'll leave that link for you below. And if you're new to working with floral tape, you want to give it a little tug. That's actually what activates that glue. So I'm going to start at the top and just give it a quick wrap all the way down to the tip. And that's just going to hold those bunches together. Just like that. So I'm just spreading them out, waking them up a little bit. I'm going to run a stripe of glue along the back of that stem. I'm going to come into my bow, lift up those loops, and shove that right in there, just like that. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to trim off some of these greenery bits. Let me show you this, guys. So you can actually trim it down. You've probably seen me do this before by each individual piece. I do that a lot with my deco mesh wreaths. But when you need some longer zhuzh, just cut off longer bits. So let's take a few minutes to get all of our greenery anchored down into our wreath. You guys, I'm just alternating back and forth. What I do above the bow, I do below, so that we've got a nice uniform pattern. Be sure to alternate back and forth between your florals and your greenery. Now that we've got the majority of our florals and greenery added in, let's go ahead and take care of our ribbon tails. I'm just curling in those ends a couple of times so it's got a nice clean finish on our navy ribbon. And then for the other ribbons, I'm actually going to angle trim. I'm going to run my finger over some of the ribbon tails to give them a nice flowy curve, and then with my polka dot ribbon, I'm actually going to give it a curly, springy bounce. So I'm just wrapping that ribbon right around an old leftover cardboard tube from some deco mesh and curling that ribbon for some whimsy. And then for that white lacy ribbon, we're just going to let it hang naturally. Okay, let's fluff out our loops. I'm just opening up those loops into an X pattern and then taking those smaller navy loops and just letting them go straight across. How stinking cute. This beauty would not be complete without these nautical rope balls. So I've got a couple of pieces of floral wire stem. I'm actually going to add a dollop of hot glue to that nautical ball and then press that floral wire stem right down into that nautical ball. This is going to basically make my own pick so that we can anchor it down into our wreath. Once I get that added in, I'm going to run some glue right where that stem is and secure it into the wreath. And I'm going to hold it for a few seconds to make sure it stays. We'll follow that same process and add a nautical ball above our bow as well. Let's grab an 18 gauge floral wire stem, fold that in half to find the center, and trim that in half. We're going to use these to anchor in a couple of sand dollars. Here I'm just running that stem right through the opening on the sand dollar, giving it a couple of tight twists with my needle nose pliers. And basically what I'm doing here is making another pick, guys. I'm going to trim it down so we've got about 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to run some glue on that floral wire stem and nestle it down into the grapevine wreath. We'll do the same thing up above. And this beauty is finished. What do you think? You can find it in my Etsy shop.